Mm, iconic,
Hey, hey.
iconic.
So can do, everyone. We are the B Connection. I'm your man, Shizz, the impromptu kind of pseudo kind of. I guess you can call me a host, but not really. But you know what I'm saying, whatever it is, what it is. And to my left and my right is the beautiful.
Here I am, Alexa Gold. Basically, singer, songwriter, producer from Philly. I've been rocking stages pretty much like all over the coast and beyond for more than 10 years now. I've been singing for longer than that, but I've definitely been on stage for several years. So I'm just glad to be here, y'all. Like, I'm glad that y'all are here with us, supporting us and joining in the conversation.
Oh, that sounded like fire. And the man to the bottom, my brother from another, that current AEW champion we have.
Azrael DiCaprio, my artist, lyricist, writer, my squad, Raw Deal Squad Entertainment. That's where I do all my music with. I've been doing music for as long as I can remember. Like, my first time I wrote a verse, I might have been 8 years old. And coincidentally, I think it might have been about wrestling. So things come full circle. Much like Alexis, I been on stage for probably the last 10, 15 years. The Philly indie circuit. I've performed in different areas. You know how it goes. You go wherever the shows go. I'm just glad to be a part of this, and I love music. I love talking about it. I love being a part of it, and I'm thankful for you two to even allow me to share in this endeavor. Yep. And definitely thank you to the fans for rocking with us.
Introduce myself though. I am your man, the Candy Kid, Shizz. I'm just a super fan of music of all genres. I've been listening to music. All my life. If it's a sound, I can turn it into a beat in my head. You know what I'm saying? I'm a pseudo world renowned, well-traveled artist, producer, and all of that. Like I said, in my head, you know what I'm saying? But again, I'm just a super fan, and I'm just going on this adventure and this ride with my family. So I'm glad y'all here with us. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. But again, we'll touch that at the end. Anybody that's a music fan, or just not even hip hop, just music in general. If you hear that saxophone riff, you already know what time it is. But unfortunately, it's sad in a sense that we got such a classic track from such an unfortunate situation. Mm-hmm. So with all that being said, I'm gonna let whoever want to raise their hand first and jump in.
Karee, it's on you. It's on you, brother.
Go ahead, brother. Take it away.
I was going to say the ladies first, but when the queen says go first, you go first. Pete Rock and C.L. Smooth, they reminisce over you. Part of the Mecca and Soul Brother album that actually dropped in '92, I believe.
You are correct, sir.
Coincidentally, dropped on my father's birthday, June 9th. So my memory of that song is layered because I was so young. But like I was telling a friend of mine the other day, music is such a huge part of our history, especially as Black people, because everything that we go through, even if you go back to slavery times, you endure through song.
Right.
And they reminisce over you. Like you said, it was born out of tragedy. And when I read that story about what happened to Troubled T.R.O.Y, Troy Dixon, it's sad, and yet something so beautiful came out.
Oh my God.
For those who don't know, he passed away, freak accident. Heavy D and the Boys Trouble T.R.O.Y was a member of Heavy D and the Boys. They were on tour. I believe Public Enemy was the headliner. Feel free to fact check me. I might be wrong, but I know Public Enemy was on that tour. There was a freak accident that occurred in the arena, kind of horseplay, and he passed away tragically. So they Reminisce Over You was born out of trying to cope from tragedy. I remember reading an interview where Pete Rock said he was determined to find the perfect way to dedicate a song to T.R.O.Y. And when he stumbled across Tom Scott's Day, instantly he knew. And I remember, same interview, he said, when I was mixing that record, Charlie Brown from Leaders of the New School, Pete Rock C.L. School, Public Enemy, they all ran together. They all cried in the studio while this song was being mixed. And
let me say this, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, because I'm gonna give it right back to you. But how powerful is music for individuals to come together and hear a sound and just get so emotionally touched to where a room full of behind the purpose, the reason they're doing it, and that's man, you got it. I'm just there. Music's power, man.
No. I agree, and excuse me, the fans, they'll see that I can be a little long with this, so I'm gonna cut this short so the lady in the house can speak. But that speaks volumes to the power of music, that you hear a song and instantly you know this is the one. This is the one. And it speaks to the power of, or the ability of Tom Scott's, that saxophone riff. It hits at the 1 minute and 38-second mark of his rendition of Today. Instantly, when I listened to it instantly, it was like, I can see how Pete Rock, music hits you in your emotions. Like it hits you deep inside. So with that being said, I'll pass to my favorite singer.
Lex, what you got, Lex?
Look, man, and see, this is why I wanted you to start it, because I felt like you would give such a really great background to how important this song is and how important it was at the time when it was being made. Because I think a lot of people, we were talking off camera, and, a lot of people of this generation, they might have heard the song, but I don't think a lot of people know, who T.R.O.Y was. It's based off of a real person who had a real impact. And that impact was felt so hard when he passed that, this amazing producer, as well as his friend, C.L, really felt compelled to create a song that pretty much has stood the test of time. And I think it'll continue standing the test of time because, we could talk about how dope Pete Rock is all day in terms of this production. That can't be understated. But I think I don't think we talk enough about C.L. Smooth and what he was saying in that song. I don't think that we had that conversation enough, because I listened to the song before we decided to film this. I listened to it quite a few times, and just the build in the song, the storytelling. Talk about the poeticism, the storytelling. It makes me feel like I'm taking a journey through somebody's life with them. And it's you don't have a lot of there's some good songs out there, but this is one of those songs where it's not only is the production on point, but the lyricism is the soulfulness and the sort of the picturesque sort of aspect of the lyrics is, man, when I tell you, and his voice too, because I also the way his voice brings out and what he emphasizes, and just talking about how much his grandfather meant to him, it's just, it's just so much about that song, from lyrics to vocals to production, that I think really has created. It was a moment. It was definitely a moment.
Right. What you
And
got,
Can I
Rick?
can I
I'm
can I
sorry.
piggyback on
Yeah.
off you real quick?
Yeah.
I'll be as concise as I can. You and I, we all have spoken previously. And you've heard me say that even in rap, your voice is an instrument. It takes effort to bring emotion out of the listener. As I listened to that record today and yesterday, and just preparing for this, the first thing I thought about was, man, this is everybody's story. This is everybody's story. We all either know somebody, or taking Troy's part out of it, because I don't want to minimize that at all. But just upbringing, a single parent, the family structure where the family kind of comes together to basically supplement what you're lacking as a child.
Yeah.
Oh, don't get me started. Don't get me started.
No, man.
Let me do this real quick.
Get tears on the first episode.
You know what? I'm there with you. I'm there with you, because now when I listen to the song, funny enough, I start getting emotional, because it makes me think about like my grandma and how, like, we went over to our grandmother's house, and that was a place that, we felt so much love and so much warmth, and like, we were young, we were kids then, but it was just like, you could see like how much family means to you, whether it's your biological family or your extended family, the people that you make family, your chosen family. And I think Troy was chosen family for a lot of people. I mean, just the way in which Pete Rock and C.L. Smooth talked about him was like, he was extended family for a lot of people. And interestingly enough, listening to Pete Rock talk about, how much Troy had an impact on him, and being able to, I understand he wanted to do a song in dedication, but you have to be a listener. You have to be a deep, soulful listener in order to hear a sample and use it in a way that brings out the soulfulness and brings out emotions in other people.
Right.
Funny enough, and I didn't know this, but he had mentioned that another hip hop group used a part of Today from Tom Scott. They used, I believe, the guitar. I want to say it was Black Sheep, but
that sounds right.
Because I was listening to an interview like earlier today, and I believe he said someone else had used the sample, but he like went back and listened to the sample, or listened to the song, and he was like, yo, I hear the bass, I hear the horns, like I hear all these other pieces.
Right.
And so he decided to, take the pieces that he wanted and basically create what we know as, they reminisce over you, today. So
let me
go ahead.
Let me slide in here real quick, right? I'm you know what? And everything that y'all both said was beautiful, honestly. And to the history and behind it, and the story behind it is wonderful. And I feel like those are things that need to be said, especially for not. I don't want to say for today's youth, but for ones who just listen to it and just hear the song but don't know the story behind the song. They just say, oh, well, it's Troy. Oh, it's Troy stand for They Reminisce Over You.
Right.
Nah, it's so much more to it.
Right.
So I respect everything that y'all just put out for not only myself and for the listeners and the people. But I'm gonna go in a different direction, because I'm always upbeat and happy and all of that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go in the Tom Scott direction, right? So walk with me real quick. I'm gonna try to do my best impression or impersonation of a music historian, right? So the song, obviously, if you the people haven't figured out yet, we're talking is T.R.O.Y. They Reminisce Over You, performed by Pete Rock and C.L. Smooth, produced by Pete Rock from the album, I want to say Mecca and the Soul Brother, which was released in '92. What he did was he sampled his sound from Tom Scott and the California Dreamers, off of the album The Honeysuckle Breeze, which was released, I want to say, in 1967. I want to say, and that was produced.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay,
that's right.
Cool.
67.
Produced by Tom Scott, or not Tom Scott, by I want to say Bob Thiel. But correct me in the comments and all that if I'm wrong, or if I even said the gentleman's name wrong. So I did again. I'm pretending to be a historian here. So that song, the Tom Scott track, is I want to say almost like a cover, right? I almost want to call it a cover from another famous group back in that era. Boom, Jefferson Airplane. Mm-hmm. For anybody that doesn't know, Jefferson Airplane is if you ever heard the song White Rabbit, you've heard Jefferson Airplane, because that song has been I want to say covered and flipped and reused so many times. I'm a big fan of Jefferson Airplane myself. But the difference in the two tracks is the Jefferson Airplane track is a much more slower tempo. And what Tom Scott did was, in all his saxophone genius, he got a hold of it, flipped it, covered it, whatever you want to call it, did his thing. And what happened was, continuing up the ladder, obviously, like we said, because we're discussing Pete Rock and his production, he heard that, obviously, we spoke about the emotional content of it all already. He heard the sound and was like, boom, this is what I want to use to, in essence, remember my dear friend, or our dear friend, or whatever the case may be. So that's my impersonation of a musical historian. Now to get what you got? Good job. Oh, I did it. Okay.
Good job. No, that was great. That was great.
Okay,
and you made a couple of my points for me. So
okay, boom. So now to get the I guess the statistical history, kind of factual stuff out the way. Now to go into the actual the listening side for me. Mm-hmm. When I hear both of these tracks, what automatically gets me, and I'm sure that touches everybody else, is the saxophone.
Yeah, right.
Boy, the minute you hear that sax drop, I don't care if you hear it on the T.R.O.Y track or the Tom Scott track, it's like, whoa. So again, we stated with the emotional side of it, it's like when you hear that, it's like, yo, it can either go one or two ways. If you're listening to the T.R.O.Y track, it'd probably bring more of a somber, low, like, Reminisce Over You. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like remembrance kind of thing. But when I listen to the Tom Scott track, I think I'm a hippie smoking peyote or something like that. You know? I feel like I'm
it's like hippie jazz. Like, I mean, I feel like psychedelic jazz.
I'm in the middle of Woodstock, like going crazy, like on some crazy shrooms or something. But I love that song. And again, to include even the Jefferson Airplane song, and it's crazy how when you listen to music, and it always, even not even being born or being from the 60s, I still, when I listen to those tracks, I feel like I'm in that era of time or era in music. And again, I do feel like a hood hippie listening to, you know what I'm saying, said track, Tom Scott, with him and his jazzophone and all of that. And again, even giving a shout out to the Jefferson Airplane track, listening to that, I feel like I'm protesting against Nam or something like that, you know what I'm saying? So again, that's how it makes me feel. I love both tracks, you know what I'm saying? And again, obviously, because we're talking hip hop, definitely the T.R.O.Y track has such an influence on, you know what I'm saying, being one of the classic hip hop tracks. But I like I said, I was going a different direction because I wanted to talk to Tom Scott, because I wanted to bring the mood back up, because, you know, I felt like we was kind of getting a little sad or whatever and all that. And I want to, you know what I'm saying, I always say, in death, you're always going to be sad. But I always say, remember the good times, man. Keep the memory alive. So no one ever really, physically they pass, and just depending on your belief system, no one ever really passes as long as you keep that memory alive. And I feel like Pete Rock I feel like he nailed it. If this was his tribute to his man and to his friend Pete Rock and C.L. Smooth, if this was their tribute to their friend, I feel like they nailed it. What y'all got? Boom, mic drop.
Lex, go first.
So for me, I feel like definitely thank you, because I remember listening to the Tom Scott song, and you know, it is like sort of like a different sort of feeling. And funny enough, even though we kind of were talking about like, you know, Troy, as in the tone might have been a little bit somber, every time you hear the song though, you get hyped. It's something about it.
Like, you do because what's that first little like kind of intro part? What is that, like a Black Creek Park or something, like that first little
I'm glad you brought that up, because I meant to look up where that sample came from, and I forgot.
I think, did I have it? Oh, it's a 12-second intro from a different, it's a 12-second intro from a song called When She Made Me Promise, by a band called The Beginning of the End. Yeah.
I'm glad you had that, because I'm looking at my notes and I forgot.
No, it's all good. But I was like, yeah, because we can't forget, like, so Pete Rock, like what he likes to do for his albums is he like to have like that small intro and like that outro. Absolutely love it. And for this, so of course, like he did the same thing, at least like he created the intro. And so so it came from a different song, and then, you know, he brings in you know, the track for Troy. But like I said, like when it comes on, like whether it's, you know, the radio or wherever, like I get hyped every time, like, because it is such a good, there's something about it. Song. It's a damn good song. I mean, let me say this. If I ever dated a guy who did not like, if I was in the car with somebody and he turned that track off, I would be like, that's it. Yeah, like I can't deal with you no more, because.
But would you meet somebody? Would you meet somebody like that?
You never know.
I mean, you know, like.
I mean, like, would you meet somebody?
Not everybody's into hip hop, though. You know, like, you know, people.
But in essence, if you don't like that track, right, and not even knowing the meaning behind it, and Ree, I'm gonna let you slide in here in a second.
Oh, go ahead. Take your time.
But if you don't like that track, and again, taking the meaning of it behind it, would that mean that you don't like Tom Scott or the Jefferson Airplane tracks also?
Well.
Ree, what you got? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Get in there,
no, I'm gonna let Lex take that. Okay. I have some deep diving to do.
Okay. Just so, I guess, just real quick. So, Tom Scott's song, even though he did cover, you know, Jefferson Airplane, we really associated with Tom Scott, and I think it is Tom Scott's soulfulness that. Enabled Pete Rock to hear something. So, you know, I don't ever want to take away, like I said, Pete Rock, he's absolutely, he's a genius. But at the same time, I never want to take away from like the person that's being sampled, because they were able to hear something in that song that was like, yo, this is dope. And it was. If you listen to Tom Scott's song today, it's a great song on its own. It really is.
As a standalone, it's awesome.
Absolutely. So I think, like, even if you didn't really like hip hop, but you still like heard, like, let's say the instrumental for Troy, I think you would still definitely dig it. But I'm just saying, like, you know, I mean, there are people out there, crazy to me, but there are people out there like that, you know. But I think for this particular song, it's so like, I feel like I don't have the words for it, because it's like all in here. Like, it's just something that I feel so deeply about it that even now I get emotional listening to it, because I realize how much, you know, how much it means to the people that created it. And it makes me feel some type of way, because I know I'm kind of like joining in that legacy. I'm joining in like that memorial, that tribute to
keeping that memory alive.
Somebody they cared about. Yeah,
that sonic ancestry that we have spoken.
Right.
Okay, so basically, look, I'm gonna keep it all the way 100 and keep it honest. I'm not feeding the stereotype, but yo, my man just said we about to go deep diving. I can't swim, but I'm gonna take this dive with you. You know what I'm saying? So let's.
I'm not going that deep. I'm not going that deep.
Oh, okay.
Well,
hey.
maybe. Because because what point that I wanted to make, but I cut myself short, so the lady of the house. It's not lost on me that C.L. Smooth and Trouble T.R.O.Y. initially had beef.
Right.
And if I remember correctly, the story correctly, this came from C.L. Smooth's mouth. It was a life or death situation until Heavy D got involved.
Right.
Quote unquote paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Right. Allegedly.
No, that's what it was. Yeah, that's
yeah. But you always say allegedly because you just never know who watches.
Right.
I say that to say a lot of young people have that same issue. And I know we're not going to get we don't want to get too deep. But fortunately or unfortunately, depending on your perspective, we decided to launch this show with a song that's that important, that's that powerful. It had a message to it. So you gotta get deep when you're talking about songs with messages.
Right.
Before I go too deep into that though, I want to thank y'all for making me go back and listen to the Tom Scott record because it triggered a memory. It triggered a memory of riding around with my grandmother when I was younger and her listening to 106.1 in Philly, WJJZ, that was the jazz station. And playing the Tom Scott Today version. And me hearing the saxophone then, and then me switching the radio station over. Grandma hearing rap, and she ain't really like it, but Troy was one of those ones that she liked because she liked the music behind it.
Right.
Now when I listen to the Jefferson Airplane version, much like you, I felt like a hippie, especially since I was listening to it at like 2 in the morning. And as I was listening to it, I was like, I know that Tom Scott's version is a cover, but how did he make that from that? Like it's a cover, but it sounds completely different. Like there are elements that still sound the same, but he very much so made it his own. Now where I was going to get deep was, again, since this is the first episode, I want to make sure that we covered some certain things. A lot of people look down on sampling. There is a art sampling. There is an art to being able, like Alexis said, be able to find this one segment of this one record. It can be an 8-second spot on a record, and it'll be enough to make another classic. Again, like, just can't lose sight of the fact that everything is art. Everything is art. I've never looked down on sampling, and I don't think anybody should, because, again, it goes back to the lineage that Alexa talked about in our first conversation. You're passing. Look how many artists have touched this music. You start with Jefferson Airplane. You go to Tom Scott, the California Dreamers. You go to Pete Rock C.L. Smooth. You go to Lupe Fiasco, and it all started from a record that came out in 1967.
Right.
And we're in 2021 now.
Yeah.
Still discussing, still talking.
That's not artistic robbery to me. That's paying homage.
Right.
That's paying homage. And Pete Rock is one of the best at it, and I'm just grateful that he found that record, and that for him to find that record, we can have this conversation.
So let me say this, right? Let me say this. I feel like for you, and I do apologize if you got more. I feel like nothing else needs to be said from you, sir. I feel like you smashed and touched everything that encompasses what it is that we're doing. So, Alexa, I'm gonna pass it to you for your final thoughts, and then let's just,
Okay. So, final thought for me is definitely one thing we want to stress as we continue doing this show is the connection between these songs, the sonic ancestry, the sonic lineage, and I love the way that Karee, how you broke that down, or rather how you connected all of the pieces together. I think that's so important. And yeah, I think it's so important. So, you know, for me, definitely, I always say it's one thing to listen to the modern song, but go back and listen to Tom Scott and his song, you know, Today, and then go back and listen to Jefferson Airplane. You know, find like, if you consider yourself a hip hop head, if you consider yourself, you know, for the culture, if you consider yourself a music lover, or somebody, a music historian, somebody who's just interested in the connection between sounds, then you have to. This is work. It's not even work. It's just like, this is what you have to do, because I think it's so important to know, you know, where you came from in order to move forward. And I think that's important musically. Know where these samples come from, so we can be able to pull these specific sounds so that we can make more music for the future.
Right. Again, beautifully put. So I'm gonna go ahead and end it with my little spiel. Hey, what we do here on the Beat Connection is we revisit the past to move forward in the present and move forward in the future. And it's always wonderful to like Reed said, when you take a track from 30 plus years ago, we're talking 67 to now, here we are in 2021, still talking about the impact that it has on not just us, but the culture and just music in general. It's if that doesn't touch you as a person of music, or just someone that's in the hip hop culture and all that, I don't know what does. You know what I'm saying? So with all that being said, just in case y'all forgot, let me introduce us. We are the Beat Connection. I am your man, Shizz. To my left, y'all right, depending on how you looking, we have
Alexa Gold.
And to the bottom, we have my brother from another, the hot spirit, the current AEW champ,
Cerebral Assassin, Azrael, DiCaprio.
Hey, there he is. And again, we are the Beat Connection. And this is the inaugural first music episode. And what a track to discuss, man. What a track to discuss. So with all that being said, Lex, go ahead, spit your bars. Tell them what they need to do.
All right, so thank you so much again for joining us for this conversation. Make sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow on our socials, YouTube and Instagram and Facebook as well. And most importantly, join us in the conversation. Please comment. You know, if you have any songs you want us to talk about, any songs you want to discuss with us, feel free to let us know in the comments, and we'll definitely get on it. We'll respond to each one. You know, we just appreciate the love. So yeah, make sure to do all of that.
We do this. Beat Connection. 205, 215. All right. My man Black Thought like to say.
Peace.
Peace, y'all.
Hey.
Peace, y'all.